Hi, I'm Daphne Richards, and this is Augie. Our question this week was inspired by an entomological occurrence in my own landscape last fall. As a horticulturist, I have a natural inclination towards observing with calm curiosity what happens in my yard. It doesn't hurt that I have the structural knowledge to generally know which events are panic-worthy and which are not. Most are not. And after almost a decade of living in the desert, where there aren't nearly as many garden pests, I'm even more fascinated when I see something in my Central Texas yard for the first time. After 7 years in Austin, I've learned about quite a few, new to me, insects and diseases. But last year was my first experience with fall armyworms. While standing on my back porch one morning in late September, I noticed that my lawn seemed to be moving. I squinted for a second and thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. But when I went out to the yard and bent down for a closer look, it became apparent. A zillion tiny worms were having a grand old time feasting on my Bermuda grass. And I sat in the same spot for over an hour, watching with fascination as my lawn disappeared before my very eyes. I watched them in the middle of my yard, where the grass is thick and healthy, and along the perimeter, where there's less grass and I could see them better. I watched them avoid the abundance of weeds in the lawn and instead eat only the grass. I watched them crawling over landscape bricks to get a taste of the pink periwinkle, but for some unknown reasons avoid the red. And I watched hundreds of them crawling up the foundation of my house for no apparent reason. By now, I'm sure that you're curious about what you should do if you encounter fall armyworms in your own yard. A little research through Extension Resources gave a pesticide option if I wanted to treat. But my esteemed colleagues also very wisely pointed out that there really was no reason to use a pesticide in a home lawn situation. The worms were only eating the leaves of the grass, not the rhizomes or the roots. So in essence, they were acting like little lawnmowers. Fabulous, I thought. I won't have to mow my lawn again until next spring. After a relaxing day outdoors, doing absolutely no work in the garden, I headed inside for the evening. And just when I thought the day couldn't get any better, I looked out the window and saw that my yard was filled with hungry birds of all types and species, arriving as if to a banquet. I know that many people are squeamish about worms, and bugs, and spiders, and frogs, and snakes, but all creatures have their place in the world, and even though, understandably, you might not want to spend the day taking videos of them, allowing them to scurry under a rock, behind some leaves, or even scooping them up in your kitchen and ushering them safely back outdoors where they belong would be a truly amazing thing to do. Our plant this week is Little Ruby alternanthera, a newly designated Texas superstar. This variety, selected from a species of plants commonly known as Joseph's coat, stays small and has beautiful foliage. With a compact growth habit and full, abundant foliage, Little Ruby gets only about a foot tall and wide. Tuck it safely into a shady spot and it'll be a little more green. Plant in full sun and it will be a deeper maroon. In shade, Little Ruby will get a bit taller and need less water. And in full sun, it will be more compact, maybe a bit wider, and need watering at least a couple of times a week during dry spells. You may find that it does a bit better in loose, well-drained soil with a bit of organic matter, but Little Ruby can grow in almost any soil type, except for perhaps the overly rocky. It's very forgiving if you miss a watering or two, perking back up quickly once you see that it's struggling and give it a drink. As a Texas superstar, Little Ruby has been planted in extension trail gardens around the state and shown to perform well with very little maintenance. It is a tropical plant, so in colder regions it will be an annual, but in warmer areas, especially those that rarely see frost, it will be evergreen, lasting at least a few years in most southern landscapes. Our viewers have such fabulous gardens. I love how Roy in Westlake gets shots with his headlamp at night, here on his beautiful variegated cactus. Kiki Corey sent in these gorgeous lotus plants growing in a shallow goldfish pond in northeast Austin. The foliage is just as pretty as the flowers. The plants die back in winter, but since the roots escape their pots to the bottom of the pond, they return in warm weather. In Wimberley, Mark and Twinkle Schwind found this cute squatter in one of their flower pots. They named him Tijuana Toad, and he's still hanging out with his pest control buddies. Twinkle's a Comal County master gardener who loves to get her hands in the dirt after work, supervised by their very photogenic cat. Marcus Montemayor created a charming garden where he grows plants to feed bees and butterflies. He agrees that this plumbago is a bit of a thug, but he loves it because it reminds him of his childhood and the Rio Grande Valley. He's gotten rid of most of the grass to create paths, borders, and beds in honor of his partner, who died from cancer in 2010 at age 52. Marcus built the garden to honor his partner's wonderful sense of peace. Marcus writes, "He's what keeps me going when I get frustrated outside or the mosquitoes are too much. It's for him that I do this." We'd love to hear your stories, so please visit us at klru.org/ctg to send us your questions, pictures, and videos.